Hello drummers, welcome to this full video song lesson for free where I'm going to teach you how to play the song Fox on the Run by The Sweet, drummed by Mick Tucker. I've got both pages, the full PDF for you to download from my website, every single bar and fill and groove included of course. So you can find this through my website, there's a link beneath this video. So have these two pages printed out in front of you as we go through this together. It's obviously going to make things a lot easier for you to understand and follow along with. It's an advanced lesson. But there are parts of it which are quite simple. The main grooves in the verses and choruses are actually relatively simple. What makes this an advanced lesson, as you probably already know if you've clicked on this lesson, are some of those really cool drum fills, maybe including the double bass drum. We'll talk about that later in the lesson. But a lot of very, very nice little drum fills that take a little bit of time and practice to be able to play. So not really an intermediate drummer if you want to play it note for note, but certainly you can simplify things, and I'm sure we'll talk about that as we go through this together. By the way, at the end of this lesson I'll talk more about it, but you might want to consider signing up to become an online member over at the website. And what I currently offer for £97 is a full year's online access to every single full video song lesson I've ever transcribed and recorded, but we'll talk more about that at the end of the lesson. So we come in with the intro, and Mick is just basically playing crash cymbal stabs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Those two bars get repeated. Feel free to use multiple crash cymbals, sort of give it a bit more flavour. And then we come in on beat 4 with our first drum beat. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it's sort of the motif of the song here, where we got this sort of snare drum on all 4 beats. Later on he moves to the floor tom, but it's really that's the motif, the main sort of idea of the grooves here in the song, apart from a couple of sections where we're playing snare drum on all 4 beats. So we start off with the crash cymbal on beat 1 of that groove, but you can play it with the snare drum as well. Mick doesn't. He plays 1, 2, 3 and 4 and excuse me. And we get these bass drums in between various parts of the groove, sometimes with the snare drum, sometimes in between. So you can see there we got some bass drums on the and 3 and the and 4. The hi-hat is loose. We then go into the next drum beat where we do get that snare drum on beat 1. 1 and 2, we get 1 and on the bass drum. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and next bar we get 1, 2, 3 and just like one bass drum on the and 3 there before the snare drum on beat 4. And then the last bar of that line we get 1 and 2 and then we get our first sort of technical drum fill. 3E and a 4E and. Nice and simple but played solidly. 3E and a 4E and 1. So start on beat 3, ending on the and of beat 4. So let me play that intro, that first line for you, and I'll play up to speed without the microphone on later. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Let's slow it down. And 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1. We're into our first groove. Our next groove, verse 1. Where we move to a snare drum on beat 2 and 4 idea for the verses. And we're just basically playing quarter notes on the open hi-hat, and you're just basically reading where the bass drums are. So without going into too much detail, let me just play the first line for you, and listen out for where those bass drums fall. 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 1, 2, 3 and 4, and 1, 2, 3 and 4, and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. Notice by the way that the verse structure is in groups of 5. The first line's a group of 5. And then the next line, it's all sort of in 8s and 16s in the end, but the melody, the sort of structure of the song, we get a group of 5, and then we get this next line, which is 3 bars, where we're playing the same groove, but the bass drum's filling in all the gaps. So we get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and into the third bar, 1 and 2 and then we get this cool little drum fill. 3 and, I've written it as left, you could, right, left, doesn't really matter, but 3 and then what I've come to call the fuddle-a-dump. I've heard other people call it different things, bucket of fish. It hasn't really got an official name, sort of, other than perhaps the Bonham triplet, although that's not technically true because Bonham had multiple different types of triplets he used to play. But it's basically, and you've probably heard me play this many, many times for you before, because it appears in so many different songs. So many drummers love this lick. Very simple, but tricky to play up to speed smoothly. We're playing right, left, right, bass drum. 4 and 4 and 4 and. that sort of tempo that's the sort of tempo of this song. Starting on beat 4 with the right hand, and the tricky thing to make it sound nice and solid is to have the bass drum fall exactly on the and of 4. 4 and, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. So let me play bars 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So we get this 4 and 1. And sort of, if you feel the bass drum locking in with those eighth notes, then you know you've got the triplet nice and solid. So when it goes to the next line, where we just basically got more bass drum reading. Again, a structure of 5. I won't waste your time by playing that line for you. You can see where the bass drums are falling, nice and simple. The next line, again, 2 bars where the bass drum is filling in all the gaps, 1 and 2 and 3 and between the snare drums. And then bar 3, an extension of what we had before, we get 1, and then starting on the and a beat 1, just 16th notes, 1 and a 2 and then 2 of those triplet licks, 3 and 4 and. So we get 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So again, bars 2 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3. We're into our next chorus. But now let me play it up to speed for you without the microphone on so you can hear just the drums. I'll play the intro and all 4 lines of verse 1 so we can see how, or hear how, you move from section to section. Here we go. So the chorus is an interesting one. We're basically playing quarter notes with the bass drum, snare drum and floor tom. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I know when you watch him play it live, he plays 8th notes on the floor tom, and you might be doing that on the recording, but what we're really hearing very solidly and the most obvious part is those quarter notes. If I play 8th notes and just try to accent the downbeats, you sort of still hear that floor tom, and on the recording you don't. So it was either very low in the mix, or he doesn't play it and he plays it as how I've written it. The reason I've done that is because that's the feel you want to go for, the quarter notes, especially when we go to the second line of chorus 1, where you do start to feel those 8th notes on the floor tom. So we have the 2 distinct sections, the first line of each chorus, the second line we start to get the floor tom being heard on the ands. So I want to make that dynamically very different from each other because that's what we're hearing on the recording. So we get 1, 2, really simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And then bar 4, it's quite hard to hear, but we get like an extra little tom note. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1. I'm playing 4 and 1. Bring your left hand up to the high tom or whatever tom you've got in front of you on the and of beat 4. A little touch there, not important if you miss it. Then 2 more bars of that quarter note. So notice that line is 6 bars. I've written it according to the structure of the song. And then the next line is 4 bars long, and we do start to introduce the floor tom on 8th notes, and the snare drum moves back to 2 and 4. So we get this 1, 2 and 3, and by the way, the bass drum is still playing on all the quarter notes. So we've got this new drum beat, 1, 2, 3, very simple still, but a change from dynamically very different. So we get that new drum beat for bars 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, into bar 3 where it continues. By the way, those gaps on the crash cymbals between 1 and 2, you don't feel the need to come back down to the floor tom for the end of 1. I don't think Tucker does, Mick. But you could play 1 and 2, 1 and then come down to the floor tom for the end if you wanted to. It's not going to make any difference to the feel. Then for bar 4 we get, I think he plays 2 bass drums here, 1 and 2 and and. And I've written that bass drum on the and a 2 on its own, but you could play 1 and 2 and. The important part is this drum fill, 3 and 4. Again, if you've got 2 crashes, it'll sound better. 3 and 4 with the bass drum dropping in between. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Next line, continue with our quarter notes, so back to the quarter note idea. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bar 2 was quite hard to hear what the bass drum's doing. I think he's playing this. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. So the bass drum starts to come in on its own on the and of 2, 3 and 4. We're still playing that quarter note fill, but you might be playing 8th notes on the floor tom at that point. You might be playing 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. Again, it's up to you, doesn't really matter. But it's really the dominant part that I'm hearing is those bass drums popping out on the ands. Then we get to what I think probably most people are interested in for this lesson, this really cool drum fill. So I had a good listen. I've had a good watch him play it live. I've seen various covers of this, the sort of genuine consensus of how it's played. And this is how I would play it. So we'll talk about the double bass drum version because he certainly did have a double bass drum. And I have seen him play this other version live, but this is how I think he played it on the recording because we're hearing these bass drums popping out on the E's and the U's very clearly. And in a way, it's a little bit easier because if you haven't got a double bass drum pedal, then obviously you can't play it anyway. But if you have, this is still more, I think, more easier to play if you've practiced playing right hand bass drum sort of, what do you call it, where you're going between the two. If you're comfortable playing that smoothly, then this will be no problem for you. So he's playing 8th notes on the floor tom and the bass drum's falling in between each of those floor toms. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E. That's creating like the double bass drum effect. Then with his left hand, he's playing this alternating pattern between the snare drum and the tom in front of him. So we get 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a. That's why I think he's playing on the recording. We'll talk about the double bass drum in a second. I just want to play the last part of the drum fill where from beat 3 we get, beat 2, 2E and then 3 and 4 and Old Faithful coming out again. So the 2 bars slowly, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3 and 4 and. At a slow tempo, you can hear the big gaps between sections, the 3 and 4 and, for example. A bit faster, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3 and 4 and 1. Now, if you wanted to, and if you're convinced of this, you could play it as a double bass drum pedal lick. So we're playing exactly the same thing, still playing 8th notes on the floor tom, but I'm be playing 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. I'm playing alternating bass drum notes with the pedal. So we get. If you wanted to play it as a double bass drum pedal lick instead, absolutely fine. It'll sound just as good. But yeah, you could play it. I'm getting a cramp in my leg. Ooh. You could play it like this. Play it smoothly. Like that. So feel free to sort of choose your own method. Choose your weapon. Double bass drum pedal or how I showed you originally, which is how I think he played it on the recording. So, very cool. Then we go on to bridge 1, I've called it. And we're back to the snare drum on all 4 beats with the open hi-hats. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Bar 3 has that crash cymbal at the beginning. Bar 3, 1, 2, 3 and 4, that one bass drum on its own again. And then bar 4, 1 and 2, 3, a 4E and. Interesting drum fill. Big gap between 3 and the of 3. We're coming in just before beat 4 with the snare drum. 1 and 2, 3, a 4E and. And I lead with my left hand there because it feels comfortable playing the 4E and just right, left, right. 1 and 2, 3, a 4E and 1 into our next section. So let me now play for you the whole of chorus 1 and bridge 1 up to speed. Here we go. So for verse 2, we're playing quarter notes on the hi-hat, snare drum on beats 2 and 4, just a case of reading where the bass drum are falling. The second line, playing all the gaps between the snare drums with the bass drum again. Bar 4 is this, sorry, bar 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it's and 4 and. It's basically and a 3 and then we got the fuddle-a-dump lick at the end. What does it go into? It goes into verse 2 continued, so we get like that, where next page, verse 2 continued, 5 bars again, just standard groove. The next line, we get 2 bars of the bass drum being filled in all the gaps between the snare drum, and then this next really cool lick. It's single strokes. You could play it as a 6-stroke roll. Very briefly, the sticking you'd use for each group of 6 notes would be right, left, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, right. If you're more comfortable playing it that way, absolutely fine. I'm sort of hearing that, I'm not really hearing that da-da, da-da, I'm hearing just the downbeat, so I think he played it as a single stroke roll. But what we've got to understand to play it is we're going by this tempo. Well, I'll slow it down first. 1 and 2 and da-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da. We're playing groups of triplets, 6 notes per beat there. I'm playing, counting 1 and 2 and 1 to anta, 2 to anta. And it ends, well, the triplets, sort of solid line of 16-note triplets ends with 3 to and. So we get this 1 and 2 and 3 and. Starts with the right and ends up on the left hand on the and a 3. Oh, 1 and 2 and 3 and then 4 and. So a cool idea. It's just tricky playing it up to speed if you if you're not very good at playing single stroke smoothly and also hearing 16-note triplets at a tempo. And I naturally play the, so I've got a clear definite in my mind and in my ear. I can hear it going 3 to the and, 4 to the ands. So the last, that's second line, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 4 and 1. 1 and 2 and ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. I'll play up to speed for you in a moment. Then we go into chorus 2, floor tom stuff, quarter notes. Again, I won't talk about it, but you could be playing 8 notes. But we're hearing the downbeat more strongly. There's that and a 4 again appearing in the 4th bar with the left hand, but this time afterwards we get a crash. I think I'm hearing a crash there on beat 1 of the next 2 bars. I've got a bit of fluff right in my peripheral vision. That's weird. I'll have to put up with it. So then we go on to the next line, moving to 8th notes on the floor tom, snare drum back on 2 and 4. Exactly the same as our previous chorus. Let's go straight then to bar 4 where we get this drum fill. 1 and 2. So a surprise snare drum there on the and beat 1. 1 and 2. And then and 3, 2 flams, and 3 and 4. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. In context with the bar before it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1, and it goes on. The 6th bar has this drum fill, 1, 2, 3 and 4 hands. So very simple, they're just 16th notes, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 into bridge 2. First 3 bars, standard stuff. 4th bar has this drum fill, 4th bar. 1, 2, 3 and 4 hands. So it's that, that's the butt plate, all the single strokes. By the way, here's a tip. Anytime you get those diddle-a-dum drum fills, you could just play, if you just wanted to get through the song, you could use that little lick. It's the rhythm that's the most important thing, not how you orchestrate it, although it won't sound the same, you'll get through it that way if you wanted to. So that's one example where he plays that. When it goes to the guitar solo. Now let me play for you the second line of verse 2 continued, chorus 2 and bridge 2. Here we go. So onto the guitar solo. On the floor tom, playing quarter notes, all we've got to do is look out for where those crash cymbals are falling. So you can see bar 3 has a crash cymbal on beat 1, then bar 4 is 1, 2. I'm just moving my right hand off the floor tom to strike those crash cymbals at the same time as the snare drum. Second line continues with that idea. Bar 2 is another one of those bars that it was quite hard to hear exactly what he was playing there, but I think he plays 1 and 2, and so moving to 8th notes on the floor tom. And then that bar 3, 1 and 2, and we get 1 and 2 and a 3 and a 3 and 4 and. But it's a bit subtler than that. It's actually, we get this little dynamic little da-da-da-da build up slightly. I haven't included it on the chart because it's not essential, but that's the sort of feel you're going for. So we get 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and 1. Going to the next section. So those last 2 bars. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Let me now play for you both lines of the guitar solo. Ba-ba-da. So on to the last part, chorus 3, 6 bars of just quarter notes. Second line, start to move to 8th notes with the floor tom. Bar 4, we've already played a variation of this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Next line, third line, bar 4, we get 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. Done that before as well. Bar 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Bar 6, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. So exactly the same as previously, the line above it, but we get 2 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Last line, bar 2, we get another example but shortened version of that cool drum lick. Same applies with the double bass drum if you wanted to, but this time he plays this. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and with the left hand there. On it goes. Then the very last bar before, on my version, the song completely fades out. We get this cool drum fill. 1 and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and 1. The snare drum pattern is moving across the beat of the bar. So we're getting 1 and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and 1 and a 2 E and 3 E, a 4 and 1. Quite a complex idea or advanced idea. We're playing 2 16th notes, resting 1, 2 16th notes, resting 1, 2 etc. So it's a group of 3, but we're not playing all 3 notes. That's what gives it its weird lilt across the bar. So playing it in context with the bar before it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and a 2 and 3, a 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and a 2 and 3, a 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2. Quite hard to count at that tempo. So let me now play for you the last 3 lines of chorus 3, because the first line is very simple. So lines 2, 3 and 4, to the fade out, here we go. So I hope you enjoyed the lesson. If you've got any questions, feel free to email me, rob@drumstheword.com. Don't forget to download both pages of the free PDF, the full song, from my website. Again, the link is beneath this video. If you enjoyed this lesson, then please give a like and subscribe on whatever platform you happen to be watching this video on. That really helps me, and it's greatly appreciated. So thank you in advance for that. Just give a little click on that thumb up. Much appreciated. And then you might want to consider, while you're over at the website downloading the free chart, considering signing up to become an online member over at my website, drumstheword.com. And what I currently offer for £97 is a full year's online access to every single full video song lesson I've ever recorded and transcribed. And that's coming up to almost 650 full video song lessons where, just like this lesson, I teach you the song from start to finish. You get the full PDF drum chart for each of those songs. And I think I've got at least one other sweet song up on the website already. Ballroom Blitz, I believe. I'm not sure if it's a full lesson, but it certainly teaches that really cool drum groove. And I'm sure I'll be adding more sweet stuff in the future. Mick Tucker is a popular drummer over on my Facebook page where most of these songs are suggested. And so thank you for signing up. I give you even more. I give you hundreds of little videos teaching you many, many famous drum beats, fills, and even drum solos. I give you 3 ebooks I've written over the years containing hundreds more famous beats, fills, and solos. And then over the year of your subscription, you also gain instant online access to every new video I upload for my members. And I record new lessons every week unless I'm ill or on holiday. So you really have got lots of stuff to look forward to over the year of your subscription. But if you've got any questions about any of that, then feel free to email me, robertdrumstheword.com. And until our next drum lesson together, toodle pip, and happy drumming to you.